Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Drake. I run Fern out of my bedroom, and I hope you like sewing and crafting because that is majority of what I do. As you can see, I run my little small business out of my bedroom. It's not much, but you know, when you start out so small, the only way to go is up. And today we'll be working on some stick and stitch templates that I've made. I drew them in Procreate, I edited them in Adobe Photoshop, and now I'm going to print some out, cut them out, and package them, and also, you know, just hang out and talk just for a little bit. Hey, so what I'm doing now is I am printing off some of my designs. I am printing them on heel and stick and stitch paper. And I'm doing this because I have some craft shows coming up and I want to make sure that like I could still share my artwork with people when they, you know, may not be able to afford some of my like embroidery pieces, or if they want to do it themselves, they have like the freedom to like, you know, choose all the colors. And I'm really hoping that it will be like a fun activity that I get to share with people. And I do have a couple different designs. I have this one here. It's mushrooms, and it's really cottagecore or goblin core, but I really like it. And then what I'm printing now is I have some strawberries, and then I have another one that's more so just one design on one sheet, but it's a knight's helm, and I'm currently just stitching that myself just to test out the product, and I'm super happy with how it's coming out. Let me show you guys. So all of the stitches that I used in this piece are long and short stitches, and honestly, I am absolutely loving how it's turning out. So far, I have been really impressed with the quality of the paper that I've been using, and I haven't gone to washing it out yet, you know, to see how well the adhesive washes out. But with how it's going, I feel confident enough to print some more of these. And then I also have some packaging that I want to put them in so that way they hang on my pegboard. And then on top of that, I also want to design some like backing cards so that way people who may not have like seen this kind of product before know what it is. And then I am so sorry, she loves to be in front of the camera. There is no one who loves being in front of the camera more than this little girl, and she is so sweet. Her name is Rain, and she is my greatest helper. Right now, I am waiting for everything to print, and then when it does, I'm going to cut it out and, you know, slide it into the little packaging. And I want to make sure that what I have like fits and it looks good. The packaging that I have is 6x4, and these sheets are supposed to be 5x4 just because I want the top inch to be like sort of like a banner or like a little sign. Again, I still have to design all of that, so it's not going to look quite done quite yet. So I got some of these printed, and I was a little bit confused about why they don't look like how they did when I first printed them. For example, here is the first sheet. As you can see, it's very dark. The lines are, I'm not going to say crisp because like it looks like they bled just a little bit, where like the ink absorbed like into the paper. And with this like second batch, the lines are a little bit more gray and not as black. However, they don't have the same bleeding problem. And so I can't decide if that's like a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm going to see what I have the file set under, because what the problem might be is I have it set, I'm pretty sure this is what the problem is. It's under RSGB, whereas I think it should have been set in CMYK. But let me see what it is. So I changed it over to CMYK because that was in fact different. Because anytime that you're printing, like from Photoshop or from like other art programs, if you're designing to go to from digital to print, you want to make sure that you are in CMYK. I wasn't, so I changed it over. And I'm still having the same problem where the blacks aren't actually black. They're sort of gray, and it looks like the lines are still softer. I checked my ink levels, all the ink, like I just replaced all the grays and blacks, so that's not the problem. Again, this isn't like regular paper, it's like interfacing almost. But again, the line quality I think looks a little bit better. And honestly, like, I'm not that upset. Like, maybe I do wish it was like slightly slightly darker with the same line quality, but overall it's not bad. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and like cut these out and put these in the packing slips that I have. So I'm actually a little bit hungry and a little thirsty. I've been yapping, and so I think I am going to go make some coffee and have a cheese Danish. Making my coffee, making my coffee. If anyone knows like any good mics for the phone that I can use, that like I could like just stick to my clothes, because like this is what it's supposed to be, but it's like anytime that I stick it to my shirt, my audio gets like really muffled and it's not clear at all, and that's just like really frustrating, because like I want to talk and record but like also not have to worry about the quality. But yeah, here goes my Keurig. Because like, don't get me wrong, this was a $20 mic, so you do really get what you pay for. So I guess that's just on me. But at the same time, I feel like there has to be a better way. But yeah, no, I'm gonna take a quick break, and then when I get back, we will be doing the cutting. And if you are from my TikTok, thank you for coming and checking this out. I know I've been posting just a lot of memes, just because that is what is getting reach, not like my actual sewing content, which is really frustrating. But yeah, I will be back. One of the biggest things that I'm trying to adjust to is finding out my pacing for YouTube, just because I have been making videos for TikTok for quite some time and I've just gotten into a very specific format, I guess, if that makes any sense. And so, like, whenever I do boring tasks like, cutting out paper repeatedly on TikTok, I just speed them up so fast. There's like, to me, no point on TikTok to just show something that's so long, but like with YouTube, I want to make more vlog style content, and I just need to learn how to slow down, or I just need to learn my new pacing. Just because of when I had all this raw footage, it was more or less so about 30 minutes. And after doing all the formatting, it's about to be almost 16 minutes. What's honestly not that bad. I'm like not upset about it, and I'm happy that I had so much content to film, because at first like I was worried that it just wasn't going to be enough. And the other thing that I would like to improve is just the way I talk in general. I tend to be very repetitive and then, use and like a lot. And I tend to also sometimes stutter my words or mumble. And that is something that I've been genuinely trying to get better at. But I'm not a very outgoing person at work. I have I just have that NPC vibe where if nobody talks to me, then I'll just do my own thing, because I just don't talk to people because I'm afraid of just constantly messing up my words, if that makes any sense. And I'm hoping that by, doing YouTube and forcing myself to talk to a camera, or, just talk to my phone for a longer period of time, that I would eventually get better and eventually like improve my ability to sound more coherent, but also not trip over myself so much. So another reason why I am making this YouTube is so that I can, document and record my process of running my small business. And if you're the IRS, look away, because this is just a hobby. I am working at such a loss where you might owe me money because you feel bad. But in all seriousness, I work a full-time job, and whenever I'm not, at work, I come home and I just do this all day. I sew before work, I get home, I take a shower, make my coffee, and I, do designs, or I continue sewing, or I put together products, and it's never ending. Between now and May, I believe I have 5 craft shows coming up, which is super exciting. But I have the ongoing anxiety that I'm going to run out of product and just have an empty table. And so I have been prepping like hell just to make sure I have enough stuff ready. And I would like to, post more of that content. However, TikTok doesn't seem to be liking me very much. So my microphone died, which is not surprising because I got it today and I took it out of the packaging and I've just been using it. So, again, it makes sense. But going back to TikTok, where it's like I put so much effort into some of my longer videos and then they tank. Like recently, I posted a video of the process of me embroidering that knight's helm, and it only got like less than 80 views. And mind you, I have like, I think around 850. So in my eyes, I don't think there's any reason why the large majority of my followers don't even see my content. But then I turn around and post like an 11-second meme, and all of a sudden it blows up comparatively. And it's so insulting because then TikTok will, show me my own video, my FYP, and they're like, hey, do you want to spend $17 to promote this video? It's like, no, I don't. You're not going to get a single cent out of me. And it's just like, it's so frustrating because it's like, I truly believe in you get what you work for. And TikTok has really just started to feel like a pay to win platform. And that's really disheartening. I also really want to do more vlog style content. And because TikTok already has decided that it doesn't fancy my videos, I think it's just going to be easier and less pressure for me to, post on YouTube. Just because with TikTok, I feel like I need to, record 8 seconds, stop what I'm doing, record another 10 seconds, stop what I'm doing. And it really just interrupts my flow of my work process. Whereas, in this video, I set you guys up. I make sure my frame is somewhat decent, and then I'm just able to start working and do what I need to do. I'm not worried about, how long I'm recording, or I'm not worried about like, well, what's my next step, or like, what's my next angle. I'm just able to relax a little bit more, and I breathe a little bit easier doing that. However, the very next thing that is starting to creep up on me is the fact that I am comparing what I want to do and who I want to be to where I'm at now. Because when I started comparing myself to like all these other like crafting and sewing YouTubers, it's so difficult to not even like start this in general, because it's like, oh well, I don't want to post my video until I have my headers or my profile pics, or I don't want to post because I don't have a proper intro. And it's like, all of that can come in time. The most important thing I feel like for me is to just go ahead and get this out there, just so that way I get some kind of momentum and I start just getting myself out there. Because at the end of the day, my end goal is to be able to make a living out of selling my hand sewn and embroidered items. And then, I would just really enjoy waking up every morning and feeling like I have purpose, or I feel like I'm doing what I want to do, instead of just waking up and going to like a brain dead job, And I'm very thankful for the job that I do have. I cannot express how lucky I am to be able to do what I do now. However, I think it's very relatable to a lot of people to just want to do what you're passionate about instead, And here is how they're looking so far. Ignore the glare as best as you can. I think everything is looking good so far, and I cannot wait to have these at my craft shows. So I have reached a good stopping point. I think the next step that I need to do is to design the backing card for all these packs, which is super exciting. However, I don't think I'm going to record that progress just because I'm a little bit tired. I did all the recording today, and so I'm just a little bit burnt out. And honestly, like, I need to take a little break. But if you like this kind of content, or if you want to see more of my studio prep or my craft show preps, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed or gave a follow to my Instagram or TikTok. Everything is under Crow and Fern except for my YouTube. Someone already had that handle. I don't know who. Could probably look it up. But yeah, I think my YouTube's like the only one that's like Crow and Fern sewing, which is, yeah, I mean, that's not that bad. I mean, like, I do sewing. That's like majority of what I do, and I do embroidery. But yeah, no, if you look up Crow and Fern, like, you'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and I would appreciate that follow. But yeah, I will keep you guys updated with how things turn out, and hopefully I can get into a good flow of these things.